I'm speaking in Latvian. Translation is over there.
Labdien, cienījamie mediju pārstāvji! Esam Valsts prezidenta Edgara Rinkeviča un NATO ģenerāla sekretāra Marka Ruttes preses konferencē. Valsts prezidents šodien pirmoreiz tikās ar Ruttes kungu pēc apstiprināšanas NATO ģenerāla sekretāra amatā, piedalījās paraugu demonstrējumos. Ilgi nekavēšos došu vārdu Rinkeviča kungam, lūdzu.
Jā. Labdien, cienījamie mediju pārstāvji, godātie kolēģi! Vispirms es gribu sveikt NATO ģenerālsekretāru Rinkevics kungu šeit, Latvijā, un vēlreiz apsveikt ar stāšanos amatā. I just congratulated you on your appointment and welcomed to Latvia. Es domāju, ka šī vizīte šodien šeit Latvijā un mūsu saruna ādažu bāzē un tikko mums bija iespēja arī vērot NATO daudznacionālās brigādes vingrinājumu parāda, ka NATO klātbūtne šeit ir spēcīga, ka tas, ka process, kādā NATO bataljona kaujas grupa pārtāpa par daudznacionālo brigādi, ir sekmīgs, un es gribētu tiešām vispirms teikt lielu paldies Kanādai kā vadošai valstī, bet arī visiem sabiedrotajiem, kas ir šeit. Paldies karavīriem, paldies virsniekiem par to, kas ir jau izdarīts, un par to tiešām ļoti veiksmīgo adaptācijas un pārējais procesu. Bet neapšaubāmi, ka šodien mēs arī ar NATO ģenerālsekretāru pārunājām vairākus ļoti svarīgus jautājumus kontekstā gan ar atbalstu Ukrainai, kontekstā ar tiem nepieciešamajiem soļiem, kas ir jāspēr, lai NATO kļūtu spēcīgāka, un dažas lietas, kuras es teicu, es gribētu arī minēt šeit. Pirmais, Latvija šobrīd atvēl aizsardzībai 3,4% no iekšzemes koprodukta. Mēs redzam, ka agresīvā Krievija un tās satelīts Baltkrievija negrasās apstāties ne Ukrainā, ne apbruņojoties, ne arī testējot mūsu gribu, un tādēļ ir pilnīgi skaidrs, ka visiem sabiedrotajiem jau vairs nav jārunā par 2% no iekšzemes koprodukta, bet ir jārunā par daudz lielāku ieguldījumu aizsardzībā. Es teiktu 2,5%, 3%, jau ir tas minimālais slieksnis, kas manā izpratnē ir nepieciešams. Otra lieta, mēs arī runājam par praktiskiem soļiem, kā stiprināt NATO klātbūtni šeit, pretgaisa aizsardzības sistēmas. Mums ir jāmācās no tiem incidentiem, kas ir bijuši pagātnē, kaut vai nokritušais Krievu drons šeit Latvijā. Mums ir jādara viss, lai šeit būtu vairāk NATO, bet arī NATO dalību valstīm ir jādara daudz vairāk, lai stiprinātu ne tikai militāros spēkus, bet arī mobilizētu aizsardzības industriju. Un neapšaubāmi diezgan daudz tiek runāts par to, kāda būs NATO politika nākotnē, kāds būs NATO nākotnē, ņemot vērā vēlēšanas Amerikas Savienotās valstīs. Es domāju, ka mēs abi esam pilnīgi viensprātis, ka tas, par ko šobrīd ir jāuztraucās, ir nevis par to, kāds ir iekšpolitiskais process vienā, otrā, trešā NATO dalība valstī, bet kā spēcināt Eiropu, tās aizsardzību, tās industriju, un tikai tad mūsu transatlantiskās attiecības būs spēcīgas. Un mums nav nekādu šaubu, es domāju, to arī ģenerālsekretārs apstiprinās, par NATO nākotni vai par NATO spēku. Un visbeidzot pēdējais ir Ukraina. Mēs redzam to, kas notiek šobrīd Ukrainā. Es informēju ģenerālsekretāru, ka Latvija turpinās atbalstīt Ukrainu. 0,25% no iekšzemes koprodukta ir iekļaut mūsu nākamā gada budžetā, 26. gada budžetā, bet ir pilnīgi skaidrs, ka NATO jāturpina atbalsts, un es vēlreiz uzsvēru to, ka ir ļoti svarīgi, ka mēs dodam Ukrainai visu, kas tai nepieciešams tūlīt, un ka Ukrainai ir tiesības viss, ko tā saņem, izmantot kaujas laukā bez jebkāda veida ierobežojumiem. Tā kā man bija prieks šodien būt kopā ar karavīriem, kopā ar tik daudzu valstu vēstniekiem, militāriem pārstāvjiem no NATO un ar NATO ģenerālsekretāru redzēt, cik ļoti attīstījušies ir NATO spēki šeit Latvijā, bet tas ir tikai viens solis no austrumu flangu stiprināšanas. Ar šo lieku punktu un saku paldies Markam, ka viņš ir šeit, un vārds ir NATO ģenerālsekretāram. Okay.
President Rinkevics, dear Edgars, it is a great honor to be here with you at Adazi, and a privilege to see the troops who defend Latvia and our alliance. Our collective strength transcends borders and crosses oceans. There are boots on the ground from North America, with Canada leading this NATO multinational brigade. And as you know, more than 12 nations from across Europe are by their side. From the high north to the Western Balkans, from the North Atlantic coast to the Baltic Sea. Europe and North America together. All for one and one for all. I welcome that the battlegroup in Adazi has increased to around 3,000 soldiers. Because more NATO means more security for all of us. I was impressed to see the troops in action in the first brigade level exercise today. Resolute warrior. Exercises are now, NATO keeps ready for anything. They give our forces experience of working together. And we could see this now in real life action. It will make us more prepared to deter any aggression and demonstrate our ability to defend all allies. Dear Edgars, I want to thank Latvia for hosting this battlegroup and also for today's exercise. Latvia leads by example. You are, as you said, spending more than 3% of GDP on defense. You are planning to do even more next year. We need more defense spending, and we need increased defense production across the alliance. To have the right forces, but also to have the right capabilities to keep our people safe. I also welcome Latvia's steadfast support for Ukraine, with military equipment, with ammunition, and with training. Ukraine is in urgent need of our help. Putin will use winter as a weapon. He will try to destroy Ukraine's power system. So we will all must boost up our support for Ukraine, including with air missile defenses to protect critical infrastructure. Our support for Ukraine is the right thing to do, to help them prevail as an independent and sovereign nation. It is also the right thing to do for our own security. Latvia can always count on NATO. And I know NATO can always count on Latvia. Thank you very much.
One more time.
Thank you.
Paldies. Tagad laiks mēdī jautājumiem. Ines Trenča, ziņo aģentūra Leta, lūdzu.
Mans jautājums ir NATO ģenerālsekretāram Ruttes kungam atvainojiet. Līdz NATO samitam Hāgā vēl ir krietni ilgs laiks. Taču kas ir tie galvenie jautājumi, par kuriem dalībvalstīm vajadzētu vienoties vēl līdz šim samitam? Paldies.
In my view, there will be a couple of big issues we need to debate over the coming months. Of course, first of all, we have to make sure that Ukraine prevails and that Putin will not win in Ukraine. That is absolute priority number one. But behind that, there are two other big issues at stake. One is that 2%, when you take out the US spending, we are now at 2% in Europe as NATO. It is simply not enough. As the President just was saying, it is simply not enough. So we will need to have the debate on spending more. And another big issue is defense production. We are not producing enough at this moment. We have to do more to replenish our stockpiles to make sure that we are ready to face off any adversary. So these two issues, defense spending and defense production, and all of this working with our partners, the EU, but also in the Indo-Pacific, including Japan, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, the southern neighborhood. This is crucial. But defense spending and ramping up defense production, we have to get this done.
Thank you. Journalist from Berlingske, Denmark, please.
Thank you. This is an Article 5 exercise that we've witnessed in the past days. What would be your message for European allies who are worried about Donald Trump's previous statements on Article 5 and alliance responsibilities? Thank you.
I've worked with Donald Trump for 4 years in my previous role as Prime Minister of the Netherlands. And I had a very good working relationship with him. He will do everything needed to defend the United States And he is well aware that the membership of NATO is part of the defense of the US. Look what is happening at the moment. Ukraine, North Korean soldiers, now being active in Russia and helping Russia with the war effort against Ukraine. Russia is paying for this. For example, by missile technology, which is now being delivered to North Korea. This is a direct threat, not only to Europe, but also to Japan, South Korea, and the US mainland. So we are connected in this. The Indo-Pacific and the Euro-Atlantic, we are connected. It is China through sanctions circumvention, through dual-use goods they deliver into Russia, which is helping Russia with the war effort. It is Iran with drones delivery. Other technologies, Russia paying for that, and therefore making it possible for Iran to continue its very negative influence on the Middle East and even beyond. So Russia, China, North Korea, Iran working together, the US understands this, that NATO is there not only to defend Europe and the US, but also to work together to make sure that the Indo-Pacific and the transatlantic stay safe. And I look forward to work with Donald Trump. I had a good phone call with him last week. We have worked as friends when I was Prime Minister. We will do so again when he becomes the new President of the US.
Very quick note to that. I think that the message should be very clear and simple. Do more on defense and you will be just fine.
Thank you. Journalist from ANSA, Malta. Italy, sorry.
Hello, I'm here. First of all, a question to both of you. What we have seen here is a demonstration of what allies can do even without US. There is no US in this demonstration. So is this a proof that there is life within NATO beyond the US? And secondly, it's about Ukraine. Is invitation to join NATO a possible element to a peace plan? As we've seen leaked in the press, Trump has some ideas, it seems, on how to handle this quickly. And would you be, both of you, in favor of Ukraine joining NATO sooner rather than later? Thank you.
The United States is an integral part of NATO. They have founded the alliance. They are not into NATO because of some historical reason that they didn't want to repeat the mistake after the First World War, not to repeat the mistake after the Second World War. They know that this is an integral part of their defense, of our collective defense. And sometimes we talk about frontline states. Let me make absolutely clear. The Netherlands and France and the United Kingdom are frontline states. We are there together with the Baltics, Poland, all the other member states of NATO. We are all frontline states. There is not a frontline state which is closer to Russia or farther away from Russia. And we need the US, and the US needs us, we need each other to work on this. It was Trump who, from 2016 onwards, was pushing us on this part of NATO to spend more on defense. Look what's happening on Latvia, moving up to north of 3.5%, overall EU NATO now at 2%, and we need to do more. We need to ramp up industry production. So on all of this, we need the US needs us, we are together in NATO, all for one, one for all. Then on Ukraine, it is only the Ukrainian government which can decide to start talks with Russia on how to end this. But they have to do this from a position of strength. And that is why we need to continue to deliver defense aid into Ukraine to make sure that they will be in that position of strength when that day comes at their decision. And we have made clear in NATO that their future will be in NATO. That is a decision we repeated again at the NATO summit in Washington. The irreversible path towards NATO membership for Ukraine. And we are building the bridge by the $40 billion pledge, by the command we are setting up in Wiesbaden, by all the bilateral security agreements many allies have now made bilaterally with Ukraine. This is building the bridge towards future NATO membership for Ukraine.
Let me just also to answer both questions. First of all, the United States has been, is, and I'm completely sure is going to be indispensable partner for Europe, indispensable for European security. But I think that it is very clear that we all need to step up when it comes to our defense and security. We all need, as Secretary General just said, not only to step up defense spending, but also to mobilize military industry, defense industry, and do many things. Also to be prepared for all kinds of hybrid challenges that all of our countries have been facing, are facing, and I'm quite sure will face. So from that point of view, I very much agree with Mark on the description that the United States are integral part of NATO. And indeed, we do hope that US presence is going also to continue in this part of Europe and in Europe in general. On Ukraine, just a couple of points. We have invited both Ukraine and Georgia to be a candidate countries back in 2008 at the Bucharest summit. They are candidates. Already 16 years we have seen quite challenging developments both in Georgia and in Ukraine. And I do believe that to some extent some kind of unclarity that unfortunately we have seen on the part of alliance also was the part of problem that we are now seeing in Europe when we see the war in Ukraine. Number two, I do believe that we need to have comprehensive plan for Ukraine, and we still have speculations about what the incoming US administration's plan for Ukraine would be. I would frankly wait and of course be happy to discuss those issues with the incoming administration, what the exact plan there is. But let's face it, at this point we also see that Russia is not willing to sit at the table. Russia actually is stepping up military operations and activities, and whenever we want to have any kind of political process, you have both. Ukraine, you can't agree on peace plan without Ukraine, but also Russia must sit at the table and Russia must be willing to negotiate. As of the invitation to join NATO, well, I very much want to echo what Secretary General said. We have reaffirmed back in July in Washington that it's not about if, but it's about when. And let's now work together to make sure that there is as best possible solution for Ukraine, in Ukraine, with the participation of Ukraine, but also that we work out a very strong security guarantees. And my strong belief so far has been that the only real security guarantee is Ukraine being part of NATO. Whether as NATO allies we can all agree, all 32, because this is a unanimous decision that we must make, remains to be seen, but at least this country is going to work towards that end.
Paldies, ar to arī beidzam preses konferenci.
Probably we were so